Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. Today we're going back to basics, old school. We're going to be working on this Toro mower here. It doesn't run. I don't know what's wrong with it, so we're going to start by spraying some spray in the carburetor and see if she'll bark, and then we'll know what to look for. Please subscribe. For those of you new to my channel, the first thing I do when I get a machine off the side of the road is spray a little bit of carburetor cleaner right into the carb, give it a few pulls, see if it'll start. That'll tell me if I have spark and compression, and you only need three things to run a machine: spark, compression, and fuel. So let's do this. Should start on the third or fourth pull. And that's how I know this is going to be a carburetor issue. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart, pull the carburetor, and see if it's cleanable. For you first-time mechanics at home, congratulations for starting to work on your own stuff. This will be a real easy one. I'm going to start by taking the screws out of the plastic cover with a Phillips head. Now, most people don't go to all the trouble, but I usually do. I take the gas tank, flip it back out of the way so I can reach things better. And you can just flip that back. Now I'm going to take this cover off. Now I can get to my fuel line. Take the clamp off. Give the fuel line a twist to break it free from being stuck, and pull it off. And the other reason I tip the gas tank back is because now it won't leak and spill fuel all over the body when I'm down here working. The next thing I need to do is take this bolt out. This is the fan arm that controls your throttle on this automatic machine. So you just take it off right here, and that whole assembly comes out of the way, and you should be fine. You won't lose anything, and you don't have to take that off. Now I'm going to have to take out two bolts, one here and here. Take out one. There we go. Now the last thing will be your linkage. That comes right out of this big hole right here, and that's the whole carburetor. I'm going to take it apart and see what it looks like on the inside. I usually use a container to dump the fuel in so I can see if it's got any water in there. Or any other crap. That actually doesn't look too bad. It's a little slimy in there. Our needle's missing. That's not supposed to happen. That usually drops down about that far because there's a needle in here and the needle's missing. And it's not in my bowl, so I know that it was not in this carburetor. So while this carburetor looks like it's in good enough shape, it's missing the needle, so it will not work. The needle, the float works like your toilet. When the carburetor bowl fills with gas, it pushes that float up, pushes the needle in place, and stops the gas flow. Without that, there's nothing to stop gas flowing in. The chances are this thing could have a crankcase full of oil and gasoline. I just don't know. But the rest of this doesn't look too horrible. But here's the thing, these carburetors are like $9. So instead of trying to find a needle that will fit this, the inside of this is kind of corroded and you know, crapped out. There's dirt on the freeze plug in there. The gaskets aren't any good. I'm just going to go ahead and buy a new carburetor for this thing for $8. And I'll finish the video when it arrives. and we'll put it back together, and I'll save this carb for parts. Well, it's a couple days later, and I got the carburetor in the mail. Standard basic carburetor. A couple of new gaskets. The cardboard gasket goes on the outside of the carburetor to go between the carburetor and the air filter cover here. This is a self-priming unit, so we don't even need that gasket. The other gasket goes on the inside of the carburetor. It's an O-ring. Fits in there. Goes over top of your intake manifold, but the one that's on there is fine. So we're just going to leave that. And we're just going to go ahead and throw this carburetor in. If you don't know which direction it goes, look at your fuel intake. Whichever way the fuel intake faces your gas tank, that's where you're good to go. So all I'm going to do is put my linkage back on. Sometimes it's easier to put them in, the left one in first, so you can reach it. Now when you go to put your lever back in, there's a little plastic post on this end that goes into this little H for your butterfly. So make sure that that goes in place. And make sure you have movement. If you don't have movement and there's something going on inside, you got it twisted somehow. So make sure it's free when you put it on. And we'll tighten this down and make sure that that post is in there, so when this arm moves, it opens and closes your butterfly. That's your automatic choke. I'm just draining the old fuel out. I know you're not supposed to do it on the ground, but I just don't care. Put your fuel line back on. Put your clamp back on. Now we can put the body back on. You have a nub that sticks out here to a hose right here. That's your rebreather. That's what I call it. Just make sure that's in the right hole. Make sure that your arm still moves freely and you're good to go. Put your cover back on. This one does not have an air filter. I'll deal with that later. You got to screw this back down. Put your cover back on. I'm going to fill it with fuel and we'll give it a few pulls. All right, it's full of gas. Let's give it a couple of pulls and see if she'll start. And I'd call that a winner. I'd dance for you, but it's raining and I'm tired and I was trying to get this done quickly. So, woohoo! Anyway, the part number will be linked in the description for this particular machine. This has a Briggs and Stratton on it. Believe me, these carburetors go across a bunch of machines. This happens to be a 6.50 190cc. But that particular carb will fit 100 different Briggs. And I want to say it was $9, something like that. But I'll have a link in the description. I'm not an affiliate, but I will allow you to find it easily on Amazon. This machine is self-propelled. As you can see, the front wheels were spinning when I pulled the lever. She's good to go, running good. Any smoke was just from sitting residually and or being tilted up on its side. So just remember, any monkey can do this if I can do this, and I am the self-proclaimed monkey with the wrench. Don't be afraid to work on these things. They're not expensive, they're not hard. If you're watching for the first time, thanks so much. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls, and I'll see you soon.